Yeah, I'm at Russell's Point in Logan County, and as you can see behind me, there is a large pillar that's down right here. Cleanup crews just moved out, so we're going to show you the damage as best as possible, but it is dark. Over here to my right, you're going to see a house with a roof just absolutely torn up. Now, what the cleanup crews were doing when they were here was they were really just trying to get this road cleared, because as you can see, there is such large debris. I mean, this is like an entire tree that is downed, as well as power lines that are downed. So once they got this road cleared, they pulled out. They're moving into another area. We were told the worst of the damage is starting about a mile down the road toward Lakeview, where a mobile home park was very, very badly damaged and hit. So we are going to head down there so we can get you some live pictures from there. We're probably about a mile down the road. We made it to the Lakeview area, and it's hard to describe this type of damage, but I need you to look behind me. Right here, there is a house that is laying on top of another house. There is so much debris all over. There are signs down. There are power lines down. There are roofs off of buildings. And just as you drive through here, you are basically dodging debris. Thanks, Adam and Elise. Well, crews arrived just before 4 o'clock this afternoon, and we're here until around 8:30 tonight trying to rescue a man who reportedly jumped in. A Dayton Fire District Chief tells me the rescue mission eventually turned into a recovery mission. Listen now to the 911 caller describe what he saw. This fence has cost taxpayers over $2,700 alone this year. The total cost over $64,000 between legal services and things like structural engineers' reviews. The big question is, when is all of this going to be over? There are at least 4 to 5 homes here on Ridge Road across from a farm field with devastating damage. Others didn't get hit as hard, but regardless of the damage, this neighborhood is feeling the power of what Mother Nature can do. The Miami Valley is making its voice heard during the national Free America Walkout movement. I'm Jenilee Borek in Dayton, where I'm told a community event was organized to connect people to activism in the area. This year, the National Women's March chapter asked people to do a walkout at their workplaces and schools to show they're concerned with things going on in the country. The push was also to get local communities to host events. Mel Rodriguez helped organize an event with different stations and organizations that could provide information. Rodriguez says a big part was encouraging people to meet one another, connect, and talk about concerns.
It's a great community to bring people together, right? We're just big enough to make an impact, as you see, and a lot of people like to get involved and find things to do.
Immigration was one of the most discussed topics, and the Miami Valley Immigration Coalition was there with resources.
I'm hearing that they're all scared to death, and it doesn't matter if they have papers, if they are citizens even, if they look like they might be a migrant or they speak another language. They feel very much at risk.
A high school student tells me young people are passionate about what is happening in the country.
I know me and my friends talked a lot about, like, this is crazy, what are we gonna do? Like, we all know it's gonna go downhill from here, we have to do something.
I also spoke to a local father who says he felt compelled to show up because his son is concerned for his immigrant classmates.
They're scared. You know, he's a teenager. They want to go to school, they want to learn. But his friends are afraid that they're going to get hauled out of class by ICE.
I'm told more events centered around immigration issues will be coming to the area in the near future. Yeah, Adam and Elise, Isaiah's dad tells me he was a sports fanatic and loved doing things outside with his family, like hiking and four-wheeling. Kelsey Trammell says his son had a big family who loved him and miss him very much. There's one quality about Isaiah his father wants to make sure people know.
Biggest thing about Isaiah was he was compassionate for everyone and only wanted to make the world better.
19-year-old Isaiah Trammell's life was cut short after an incident that happened inside the Montgomery County Jail in 2023. He was taken into custody on a misdemeanor warrant for domestic violence and was awaiting trial. Isaiah had autism and was visibly in a severe emotional state, his injuries ultimately leading to his death. Now, his father, Kelsey Trammell, is speaking out publicly so people can understand who he was.
One of his goals and dreams when he was younger was to build a homeless shelter and help those that were in need that couldn't help themselves.
Kelsey tells me he was so proud to see his son live on his own and hold down a job despite having autism. He also described how hard it was to find out Isaiah had been transferred to the hospital.
Once I got to Miami Valley, he was already on life support. And I sat there with him for 3 days until his last breath. It's the worst feeling in the world.
The Trammell family now has an attorney and they're looking into taking legal action. A partner at the law firm says the family is committed to making sure this doesn't happen to anyone else and shared her legal opinion about what happened to Isaiah.
The way that this jail and these corrections officers treated Isaiah it's beyond the pale. It showed such a callous indifference to his well-being.
I asked Gelsomino how big of a problem this type of treatment is in Ohio correctional facilities. She says some jails are worse than others.
I am so sorry to report that this is a really serious problem in Ohio's jails and prisons. Something like what happened to Isaiah does not happen in a vacuum. You know, that kind of disregard for the safety and security of a person in their custody is done because of a culture of impunity.
A spokesperson from the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office gave us a statement yesterday saying in part that Isaiah's death was a tragedy. It also says he was provided medical and mental health treatment while in jail, and the Ohio Bureau of Adult Detention has reviewed the incident and didn't find any deficiencies.
I received a statement today from a representative for Montgomery County saying the commissioners have allocated $20 million to the jail to add 100 additional beds for behavioral health treatment. We will continue to follow this story as it evolves and bring you any updates here on air and online at Dayton247now.com. Back to you in studio.
The investigation's final report stating that the document that was leaked was a privileged document through attorney-client privilege between the prosecutor's office and the Board of Elections. It goes on to say the sharing of the document started with Montgomery County Board of Elections Deputy Director Russ Joseph, first forwarding a copy to his private email address, then sending it to the Montgomery County Democratic Party Chairman, Mohammed Al-Hamdani.
Did you notice at all, or did it give you pause, that this document did come from a private email address versus his normal office email address?
No. Not ever. He usually emails me from his private email address to keep me up to date. That's just normal for him to do. Never gave me pause at all.
The report goes on to say that after Al-Hamdani received it, he sent it to Dennis Lieberman, the legal counsel for the Montgomery County Democratic Party, who's also the husband of Montgomery County Commission President Deborah Lieberman, which is Mary McDonald's opponent. I asked Al-Hamdani why he did that.
He's the attorney for the Democratic Party. So Dennis Lieberman is not just, her husband of her opponent. He was also the former chairman of the Montgomery County Democratic Party, and he is the attorney for the Democratic Party. So this naturally, send it to my attorney and say, hey, what do you think of this? I mean, that's the natural thing for me to do.
Dennis Lieberman then sent the document to Don McTeague, who was the legal counsel for the protesters.
Was your act of forwarding that email at all politically motivated, knowing, though, that he is married to Mary McDonald's opponent?
No, not at all. I actually just kind of asked him to look at it and send it to the attorney that was representing us. That document is not a privileged document. I know some of them try to claim it, but I think today they voted to release it to the public. There's nothing in that document that was privileged at all. It was just plain legal research and plain legal opinion. Actually, no opinion was given. It was just legal research saying this is the law, and nothing on that document ever said it was privileged at all, so we didn't even think twice about it.
I also spoke to Mary McDonald today, who thinks otherwise. Her or her attorney have not yet seen the document that was leaked.
The absolute levels that these individuals have gone to keep me off the ballot and to serve the individual that I'm challenging, Mr. Lieberman, for his wife, and Mohammed who works for Mr. Lieberman. I mean, this is a concerted effort that people are putting forth to keep people away from positions that they feel they're entitled to without anyone challenging them.
It's been nearly a week since the Dayton Police Department said they believe they found the remains of 7-year-old Herschel Kreechbaum, who had been reported missing. The community is still processing the shock and other emotions as more information has been revealed this week. I spoke to one neighbor who wanted to remain anonymous, and she told me about her interactions with Michael Kendrick, Kreechbaum's mother's boyfriend, who's been charged in connection to the 7-year-old's death.
He wasn't very nice. We didn't have good interactions with him. Something was off with him when I did first meet him.
She went on to say she'd say hi to the family and interact with Kreechbaum if she saw them out on walks. She got emotional reflecting on those times.
It makes me sick to my stomach that they could hurt that baby like that and then throw him away like he was nothing. That baby didn't deserve that.
Less than a mile away, others are dealing with the reality that Kreechbaum's remains may have been right where they live or work for weeks. Dennis Gray lives across the street from some abandoned railroad tracks and tells me that's where he saw police on Saturday.
There was a very large contingent of police officers in marked and unmarked cars, and some of them were clearly detectives. It's a little stunning, I suppose, to have that happen so close. I think that the whole thing is so tragic, so everybody feels that. I mean, the loss of the boy has got to be the main thing.
I also spoke with Dee Swan, who works at Prestige Glass Company, which is next to those railroad tracks. She says DPD was at their business Saturday and the first 3 days of this week, asking for video footage. Swan says their camera shows the parking lot and part of the area by the railroad tracks.
It's my impression that they're trying to find the person of interest, the one that they've arrested, entering.
Swan says it's hard to think about Kreechbaum's remains being there and what he might have went through.
I just don't know how, as a human being, you can treat a person, a child that's in your care, as just trash. You know, it's just unfathomable to me.
A major turn in the controversy over Dayton Public Schools is busing of high school students. I'm Jenilee Borek. These court documents filed Monday in Franklin County tell us that DPS's Board of Education is suing the state over the district's inability to bus high school students via public transportation.
The lawsuit shows that Dayton Public Schools is suing the state of Ohio, the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce, plus its director due to the new state budget, House Bill 96, which prohibits DPS from using bus passes from the Greater Dayton Regional Transit Authority, or RTA, to get high school students to and from school. According to the documents, DPS claims an amendment to the legislation is unconstitutional and, quote, arbitrary, unreasonable, and discriminatory. In the lawsuit, DPS says, quote, the amendment requires DPS to either violate the law or stop providing bus passes to students. If DPS does the latter, many students will not have reliable or safe means of transportation to school. Prior to this school year, DPS would purchase RTA bus passes for high schoolers who would transfer routes at Right Stop Plaza, known as the downtown RTA hub. Conversations about how DPS buses high school students intensified after a Dunbar High School student, 18-year-old Alfred Hale III, was shot and killed there while trying to transfer buses last April. DPS says the amendment is discriminatory because 80% of its students are minorities, and the amendment disproportionately affects those students. The lawsuit says students buying their own RTA passes would cost $540 a year, which is unaffordable to many, but is also the only option as many students as parents do not even have transportation to and from work. DPS says the impact will be that students risk getting hurt using alternative travel to and from school, plus many students will miss class because they can't get there. Some may not be able to attend school at all.